What's up guys, Valence Ring here, and I wanted to bring you a video that is a little bit of a larger topic, but I think that it is very, very important, and that is all about managing your hero lineups so you can get those troop boosts. And it's important to figure out kind of how you're utilizing your heroes for the best benefit overall. And I do get a lot of questions about heroes. Heroes in general are a huge topic, and I plan on having many videos on them, time permitting. So let's get right into this. Basically, again, we're talking about managing your hero lineups, and where you're going to do that is in your Hall of War. So this isn't about arena or hero to glory or for campaign or anything like that. This is strictly for the troop boosts. So how do you use your heroes for the troop boosts? So if you go into your Hall of War and go into your troop form set, for your formation sets, you can save, generally speaking, most players I think are going to have, between 2 and 3 formation sets that they're going to be able to use. And once you get to VIP level 12, you'll be able to do a 4th set. So since most players are specialize in one type of troop, or maybe specialize in two types of troops, it's going to be important to set up a formation that specifically targets that type of troop. So for instance, I'm shooter based. My best stats are from my shooters. As you can see here, this is where you're going to set up your lineup of what type of troops you're sending and what types of heroes. So I want to focus on the heroes here. Interesting to note, the might of your march can be seen here, and that's a kind of a good indication of how strong the march is. And this is going to look a little bit differently because this is going to have the hero boosts applied, which is why it's important to understand how you're using your heroes. So because you can have 3 formation sets, and that one's for my shooters, and you also have your wall, which is very important to understand, because if you're in battle, you want to make sure that you have good heroes in your wall too. So I want to talk about how to manage all of these formation sets. So for me and most people, you're going to have 3 formation sets in your troop form set and your wall. So I'm going to talk about how to set up those 4 to get the maximum benefit. So first, let's talk about what it means to have a specific type of hero in your lineup. So let's actually go up here and look. As you can see at the top of each of these heroes, it says shooter. So this is my shooter lineup. I only intend to send shooters into battle. I'm not going to have fighters or riders or vehicles, just shooters. So every time it says shooter up here, that means that the hero doesn't actually use their regular skill, they use their tactical skill. And I have a video talking about tactical skill damage, so you can look at that. But basically, it just means it does a percentage of unit attack. You can go into your heroes to see what type of tactical skill damage they're going to do, and normally it's a percentage of that unit's attack. So it's important to have a good attack for each of the units that you're going to have in battle. But if I had fighters instead of shooters for heroes, the fighter-based hero, then it's not going to do that tactical skill damage. So for a shooter-based lineup, you want to make sure that all of your heroes are shooter-based. And in addition to this, it is going to give you typically the best boosts for your shooters. Now, there are shooter heroes that don't necessarily boost shooter stats specifically. They may boost other things. They may be economy style heroes, or not economy style, but their boosts might do other things outside of just boosting the shooter stats. So for this case, I normally will not tell you that you have to do anything one specific way, but I have all the heroes unlocked. I have all of them leveled up so that all of their skills are active, because some of these, like Hartwell, for example, her skill doesn't activate until level 131, and most of these don't unlock that 3rd troop skill until level 131. So you have to have them at least that high in level. 5 stars, I believe it might be 211. At any rate, they have to be leveled up enough. But once you have them leveled up enough to unlock those skills, then this is the best shooter lineup that you can possibly have. The reason being is if you go down and see each one of these is a shooter, and they have the best stats for shooters. Requiem is a troop, she boosts troop hit points, attack, and defense, while all the other ones boost specifically shooters. Griffin only boosts attack and defense. His first skill is an economy-based skill, but because he's the only other shooter that still boosts attack and defense for shooters, this is the best lineup for a shooter lineup. So these heroes, Requiem, Hartwell, Phoenix, Griffin, and Ephraim, are the best shooter lineups for strictly shooters. And you can ask anybody you want about that, and maybe there's some room for debate. Maybe you want to put in, say, Myers. But again, Myers is fighter-based, so he won't have that tactical skill damage inside of this lineup. So that being said, another reason you want it set up like this is because all the boosts will apply to shooters and all the tactical skill damage will go. Now, because I'm strictly doing a shooter lineup, I'm also doing strictly a fighter lineup and strictly a rider lineup. Now, what this allows for is an equal distribution of my heroes so that I never am using duplicate heroes. I don't want to use duplicate heroes because let's say I send out my shooters on a march and then I need to attack something else or someone else and I send out my fighters because they're strong enough, but they're not as strong as my shooters. But, well, if I have, like, let's say, Requiem boosts troop skills, if I have her in a shooter lineup and a fighter lineup, then I won't be able to use her in the second lineup I send, and that's not good. So you want unique lineups where each hero is only used one time in a lineup. So for my fighters, as you can see, all of my fighter-based heroes are fighters for my lineup. They're all fighters and they all boost fighter attack, as you can see over here. It's interesting to note that I'm all the way down here with Barbie, which is a 3-star hero. Now, I'm not fighter based, and so there might be some room for argument here because there are fighters that could be stronger than Barbie. For instance, Tomio is a fighter based hero, but she boosts troop hit points. And I'll get into that in a second. But her boosts are for troops, not just fighters. So even though Barbie is only a 3-star hero, and Seoyun, who is only a 4-star hero, and Sanguine, another 4-star hero, this is, for the way that I have it set up, the best lineup for fighters. Now, again, you can see my boosts for fighters aren't that strong because most of my fighter heroes just aren't as good. But that's okay. It's still, once I get them leveled up, it's still going to be the best. And like I said, you could argue putting Tomio in here. If you are fighter based and you have a strong Tomio, then maybe this would make more sense. But the key point to remember is I want unique heroes in each spot. So these heroes are not used anywhere else in any troop form sets or marches outside of this one. So then we go into the riders. So really quick to recap, the best fighter lineup you can have, as far as to the best of my knowledge, is going to be Ulrich and Zephyr, followed by Sanguine, Barbie, and Seoyun. And then, of course, like I said, we can argue about Tomio later. Riders is very similar. Again, I'm using 3- and 4-star heroes and 2 strong 5-star heroes. Fox and Obsidian are obviously the best heroes for riders. As you can see, they are all rider-based heroes, and that's important to note. But again, no hero is used in more than one place. So since Rider and Obsidian are the strongest riders, Fox and Obsidian, I want them in there. They give really strong boosts, especially since I have them red star. And then I'm using, I think it's Dom, Rain, and Doc Gray. And this is going to give you some of the best boosts, making sure that each hero has the opportunity to do tactical skill damage. I will say that 3- and 4-star heroes, I'm not entirely sure why, but they may not do tactical skill damage regardless, but they still apply their troop boost. As you can see here, all the troop boosts are for riders. So that's what you want for your rider lineup. And of course, this is how I have it set. Now you'll say, well, what about Mars? Mars is a rider again. But if I was to take out Doc Gray and put in Mars, you'll see that he boosts troops and only by 40%, which is still better than Doc Gray's, if I can find him again, of only, looks like, what, 25%? 25%. So you say, why wouldn't you want the 40%? So that brings me to the last point. Because I don't want any hero duplicated in any of my lineups, let's talk about your wall. So coming down to the wall, because the wall protects your sanctuary, and your sanctuary typically has all of your excess troops. You can see in your parade ground what troops I have, and you can look in yours to see what troops you have. This will show you that I have a bunch of shooters, plenty of fighters, plenty of riders, and a bunch of vehicles. So if someone hits my sanctuary, and let's say I send out 3 marches, I have a fighter march out, a shooter march out, and a rider march out. Well, I still have vehicles in the sanctuary, I still have shooters, I still have fighters, and I still have riders. So what's going to happen? Well, the best case scenario is that all of your heroes in your wall, one, they're not out on a march, and 2, they boost all of your troops. Okay, so you can actually click here and see the boost details, and that's actually all my boosts. But let's look here. You'll see that they all boost the troops. Now, it might not seem like a lot, but this is boosting all 4 of the troop types, including vehicles, which most people still have vehicles laying around in their sanctuary. And in addition to that, outside of shooters, which I'm using Requiem as my shooter, technically I could have her in here instead of, say, Divana. Outside of that, I'm going to get tactical skill damage off of all of these for fighters and riders. So because it's boosting the troop attack, hit points, and defense, and Atropos, which is a special hero, she boosts sanctuary defense. So with her leveled up, my raid attack, raid defense, and raid hit point is up 120%. She is absolutely the only hero that is specialized specifically for sanctuaries as of this video. You have to have her in your wall for it to take effect, but you will get that bonus raid attack, raid defense, and raid hit point of 120%. Now that might apply if you're attacking another sanctuary, but I'm not entirely sure. I still think don't put her in a march. It's more beneficial to have her in your wall. Leave her in your wall. It's what she's designed for. That gives you these huge boosts. So right now, all of my troops, attack, defense, and hit points are raised over 200%. And that's about as good as most of my other marches, but it's affecting all of my troops. So any troop I have left in my sanctuary, it's boosting. And that's why these 4 lineups are the best possible lineups that you can have for each troop specialization and having a strong wall defense. So Atropos stays in your wall, and then of course Marlowe, Mars, Divana, and Tomio all boost troop stats. So that's why I have it set up this way. As you'll notice, I can have all 3 marches out, still have my wall fully reinforced with strong stats at plus 200%, and I'll be able to never duplicate a hero. So another reason you don't want to duplicate a hero is, let's say I do have Atropos in my wall and I'm raiding a sanctuary, and I say, well, I want that 120% boost to go to the sanctuary I'm attacking. Not a bad plan, but if I send Atropos out on that march and then someone attacks my sanctuary while she's out on a march, she does not actually stay in the wall. She comes out and they've just autofill in, when you get hit, another hero. It will show you that their heroes are on standby. I have 42 heroes on standby. Every time you send a hero out, it's no longer considered an idle hero. And if it's not idle, that means it's in use. It cannot be in your wall as well. Now, while you're under attack, obviously, if you don't have any marches out or you have these heroes in your sanctuary, then they will be in your wall and apply for those stats. So that's what you want. So again, just to reiterate, I just really want to talk about this. And of course, a big note when you're first setting up and you don't have all the heroes, or you don't have them leveled up very strong, play around and see what you can do. Obviously, if you're specializing and you need a hero in a specific spot because they're really strong, maybe you have, like Requiem, maybe you have Requiem really high up, but you don't have, Siu Yun yet, or not Siu Yun, Hartwell. Maybe you don't have Phoenix yet. Maybe you don't have, any of these shooter-based heroes that are really going to help you out. Well, put in the hero that you do have. You can still use Malcolm. As a shooter. You can still use Bard. These 3-star heroes are great as additional heroes. You're not going to use them all the time, but when you do need them, at least it's an extra boost. And you may have them leveled up more than some of the other heroes that you might want to use. First of all, level up your heroes and focus on those heroes that are going to be your primary. So I'm shooter based, so I want to make sure that my shooter based heroes I level up as quick as possible and get them up to a level where their skills are all active and I can use them in battle. Once I've done that, make sure that you're not duplicating heroes if you plan on doing more than one march. If you only use one troop form set and that's it, then do it however you think is best. But if you want the maximum effectiveness across all your marches, then you're going to want to diversify how your heroes are laid out so that you're not duplicating them. And then build up your heroes. I never reset a hero. I always build them up. You need, just for the record, you need every hero at some point in time or another. Every single hero is going to benefit you, even your 2-stars in the beginning especially, to having them leveled up. And then as you get 3-stars, you level them up higher, and 4-stars obviously get higher than that, and 5-stars you want to go as high as possible. But every hero is used for something at some point in time, so you definitely want to level them up. So that's everything, guys. I just really wanted to go over the troop form set and how that helps you out. Diversify your heroes. Make sure that you're utilizing the best ones for the march that you're using. And of course, if you have any questions, put them down in the comments below. If you feel like you have a better lineup than what I've shown you, please let me know, because I'd love to see it and love to see if it works better. I'm always open to learning new things. At any rate, guys, appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. Like the video if it helped. Subscribe to my channel if you want to continue seeing content like this.